Good morning, Unity. Happy Easter. If you'll take a deep breath and join us in our morning jam, All the Good.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Give some love to our music team this morning, Spirit Sound. So glad you're with us this morning. Good morning and happy Easter, everyone. Wow, you look so beautiful in your spring colors. And are you enjoying our new decor? We're very excited. For those of you that do not know, we have just a few new touches on our walls and up here on our altar as part of our rejuvenation of our sacred space, and we're just so tickled to unveil it on Easter morning. It's part of the resurrection energy. Absolutely. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Reverend Cheryl Myers, and it is my absolute joy to be here with you on this Easter Sunday, and we welcome everyone who are live streaming on YouTube this morning. Good morning and happy Easter to you. So we are celebrating and have been celebrating and honoring the Season for Peace and Nonviolence, which has been a 64-day focus on how to co-create peace in our world from nonviolence, as inspired by Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, Nelson Mandela, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And so we have been following this wonderful little guide for the past 64 days, 64 ways for 64 days. And so each day has a focus. And today's focus is, today, I will serve humanity by dedicating myself to a vision greater than myself. Let me repeat that. Today, I will serve humanity by dedicating myself to a vision greater than myself. Let's breathe into that. All right. So as people continue to come in, let's just take a deep breath and gently close our eyes and just begin our time together in the activity of prayer. Yeah, so we do take a deep breath into our heart. And as we breathe into our heart, we feel our heart open and receptive to be blessed on this Easter Sunday. To rise in our awareness of all that we are. To leave here today knowing fully the divinity that we are, with a deeper intention to express it in our world. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing this glorious sacred day, this season, with us here at Unity of Gaithersburg. Your presence is such a blessing. And for our time together, we take one more deep breath into our heart and feel gratitude. And so it is. Amen. Amen. So here at Unity of Gaithersburg, we have a vision and a mission, and if you would like to connect with that and know what we are about, it's printed on the back of our bulletin. It's also on our lobby walls. We're up to some mighty things here at Unity of Gaithersburg. And if you are here with us for the very first time, if you would raise your hand really nice and tall, and our ushers will come and they will give you a welcome packet. And on the top of that welcome packet, here, Lauren, just right up here. Thanks. There is a card, and if you'll fill out that card, and just place it in our offering bag. We will just add your name to our email list. We have a wonderful newsletter that goes out on Friday afternoons that tells you everything that's happening here in this community. So thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us. So let's stand and sing a congregational song.
1, 2, 3.
moment to greet your neighbor, offer a handshake, and ask for a hug.
Making your way back to your seats.
Thank you all. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Brett Savage, and I am very pleased to this week share the transformational opportunities that are detailed in our community newsletter. You can receive next week's edition by sharing your email with us. And before we go on, I ask that you please take time to silence or power down your cell phone and other devices. Thank you. Our second annual Big Spring Prosperity Fling online auction is on the horizon. Yes, let's have it here. Fun and exciting donations continue to roll in, and several are on display in the lobby. If you did not see them on the way in, please check them out on the way out of the sanctuary. They're very nice. I think you might want to bid on them. These are just some of the many exciting things being given to the auction. And the question is, what fun items are yours to donate? A work of art? Beach vacation timeshare? Drumming lessons? Pet sitting? Maybe dinner out. These are just some of the ideas. Whatever you donate, remember, your gifts may be tax deductible. And we thank you for donating only unused new items. Bidding is the week of April 20th through 29th. And we thank you for joining the fun of the Big Spring Prosperity Fling. And the prosperity it brings our community will be such a blessing. And we thank you. Unity of Gaithersburg is also gearing up for another magnificent week of SEE, Spiritual Education and Enrichment. Classes begin June 3rd through the 8th. This year's theme is Deepening Our Knowing, Shining Our Light. The 7 classes offered this year are Metaphysics 1 and 2, taught by Reverend Eileen Gore, Unity Prayer, taught by Reverend Cheryl, Healing and Wholeness, taught by Reverend Tony Fish. Jesus' Teachings, taught by licensed Unity teacher Jane McCarthy. And meditation practices, as well as finding yourself in transition, will be taught by Reverend Robert Brummett. So please consider joining us. You'll be glad you did. For more details and registration, go to our website, unityofgaithersburg.org. There are also brochures and flyers in our lobby information center. So we are excited and look forward to seeing you at SEE this year. Our communications director, Zana Davis, will facilitate a social media basics workshop on Saturday, April 7th from 10 a.m. until noon here at Unity of Gaithersburg. She will teach us how to navigate the basic ins and outs of social media. We will explore Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and more. So bring your preferred and your favorite social media device, and this session is offered for a $25 love offering. On Saturday, April 28th, from 9:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m., Edie Crane will facilitate a day retreat called Lighting Up Your World, the Art of Conscious Creation. This will be a journey of self-awareness and discovery where we will use some of the principles taught by Dr. Joe Dispenza, author of You Are the Placebo and Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. We will explore our growing edges and expand our spiritual toolbox to hone our vision for ourselves and the world. For this session, tuition is $75, which includes lunch. So once again, you can sign up on our website, unityofgaithersburg.org. So at this time, let's please center ourselves as we reflect together on today's daily word. The focus for today is Easter. And if we can read our affirmation together, I rejoice in the knowing of my Christ nature. This Easter morning, we rejoice in the knowing of our Christ nature. We are grateful for Jesus and the example he taught and demonstrated that nothing and no one can imprison the truth of what I am. No matter what the circumstances, the resurrecting power of our awareness and knowing restores and uplifts us. Whatever we may be facing, we experience our inward faith and strength in this message of Easter. We feel deep joy in remembering that in any moment, we can choose to die to old ways of being and doing and be born anew, transformed and triumphant. Our Christ nature is our calling to stand and know all that we are. We say yes to this call and walk in the newness of life. We are liberated from any thoughts of weakness or fear. We are free, powerful, and victorious. How grateful I am for claiming my Christ nature today and always. And from John 11:25, I am the resurrection and the life. And now let us prepare for meditation by singing All Is Well.
So once again, I invite you to just gently close your eyes and take a deep centering breath. And as you take that deep centering breath, I invite you to shift your focus to the movement of the breath as a way to turn our attention away from busy thinking, anything that's ours to do after we leave here today. We will get to that. But for right now, we give ourselves the gift of settling in, breathing consciously into the stillness of our being. What a gift to be still. And so as we breathe consciously, we move the in and out of the breath into our heart so that we are actually breathing into and out of our physical heart space to open that space to the love that we are. Today, we celebrate our greatness rising. We celebrate our greatness expressing. And the greatness that we are is our Christ nature. That is the love that we are. And on this day, as we reflect on the ministry of Jesus, we are reminded of the love that he modeled and expressed, no matter what the external circumstances. And so today, on this beautiful Easter morning, I invite you to just breathe into your heart of love as a way to remind yourself of the greatness you are, that is love. That is the truth of your nature no matter what. And as we rise in that awareness in the stillness of our being, we awaken its ability to be expressed in our lives. So just breathe into your heart of love. And if it supports you to place your hand over your heart to feel that love, to feel the warmth, feel free to do that. And as we move now into a time of silence, I invite you to just continue to breathe into your heart of love and envision it just radiating out as a beautiful radiant light in your life. Breathe into your heart of love. See it expressing, radiating out from your being in the silence. no matter what is happening around us, love is the truth of our nature. And on this Easter Sunday, we allow it to rise in our awareness and express in every interaction that we have with another person. We allow it to express as we look in the mirror and behold our countenance. As we go to work each day, as we drive our cars, whatever is ours to do, we rise in our awareness that love is the greatest power and healer. And how grateful we are for our Christ nature that expresses in this beautiful connecting way. So let us take a deep breath into our hearts, keeping them open and expressing. And so it is. Amen. Let's give some love to Spirit Sound. Namaste. Love is the answers. Well, it seems that the local Baptist church called a community meeting to get ideas about what to do about the overabundance of squirrels infiltrating churches in the area. It's a real problem. And it seems that at their church, the squirrels had taken an interest in the baptistry. And so their deacons met and decided to put a water slide on the baptistry and let the squirrels meet their demise by sliding in the water. But actually, the squirrels liked the slide and knew instinctively how to swim, so twice as many squirrels showed up to church next week. Well, the Episcopal Church decided that they were not in a position to harm any of God's creatures, so they humanely trapped their squirrels and set them free near the Baptist church. 2 weeks later, the squirrels were back when the Baptists took down their water slide. Well, the local Unity Church, after much prayer and meditation, determined the squirrels were there by divine order and had a sacred message for them. So they checked the Animal Wisdom Guide and didn't interfere. The squirrels kept coming back for energy healing, hugs, and affirmations. The Catholic Church came up with a very creative strategy. They baptized all the squirrels and consecrated them as members of the church. Now they only see them on Christmas and Easter. There's more. But the Jewish synagogue, however, came up with the ultimate solution. All it took was the squirrels overhearing the rabbi reading scripture about circumcision, and there hasn't been a squirrel sighted on their property ever since. Oh, no squirrels in this congregation. So happy Easter, everyone. So today is not only the sacred holiday of Easter, it's also April Fool's Day. And it's also the closing of our season for peace and nonviolence that we have been focusing upon for the last 64 days. And it's really not a closing, folks, because there's no closing for a season of peace. It's just that we are closing that particular focus here at Unity of Gaithersburg. And we have celebrated over these last 64 days nonviolence as taught by Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Cesar Chavez, Nelson Mandela, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And we heard about their legacies last Sunday as our Theater of the Spirit just presented something wonderful about each of them and their contributions to our world. And these leaders in their legacy continue to invite us to pursue peace through nonviolent means. And also, throughout the season, we have been studying New York Times bestselling author Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness. And so today, we're just bringing that all together because it just feels like a perfect union to bring the Easter message into what I wanted to share with you about Brene Brown's work. And if you haven't read the book, it's fine. If you haven't followed it, it's fine. I'll guide you along this morning. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about Easter in unity. What Easter means in unity. You know, it's the time of year where we celebrate the rise of the Christ. And the Christ in unity is the divine essence, the divine consciousness that we are inherently. We are all the Christ, and Jesus demonstrated that truth. He came to earth, we teach in unity, to teach us the truth that we are the Christ. And Easter is that beautiful day when we consciously choose to rise in our awareness and claiming and expression of our divine nature. And unity is practical spirituality, meaning that whatever we teach, whatever you hear here on Sunday morning, whatever you hear in a class is meant to be integrated into your daily practice. I always love that about unity. That's really why I came to unity, because I wanted to learn how to walk a spiritual life, how to really take the tools that I had gleaned from studying unity into my life. And so today, how do we practically apply this Easter message into our lives right now? You ready? Okay. All right. So the chapter I want to talk to you about in Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, is called Strong Back, Soft Front, Wild Heart. Strong back, soft front, wild heart. And I'm going to bring in the strong back, soft front part today because I think it just relates so much to the Easter message. But first, let's talk about what does it mean to brave the wilderness? So what Brene has been teaching us, and I think Jesus modeled this beautifully, is that when we brave the wilderness, what that means, and it's so relevant today, is we brave the wilderness when we step out of our comfort zone, being who we authentically are, speaking our truth, creating healthy boundaries, doing it in a healthy, respectful, loving way, coming from the love and compassion and courage that we are. That's braving the wilderness. And what an adventure that can be in today's world, huh? So, Brene teaches that in order to do this, in order to brave the wilderness, we get to have a strong back and a soft front. And when we have a strong back, what that means is that we release the need to be anything other than our authentic selves. We release the need to please others. We release the stronghold of needing to be perfect, to prove ourselves worthy and deserving, and the need to pretend that we're something else in order to fit in. We claim our true magnificence. We are that. We stand strong in that. And it's no accident that the strongest joint in our body is at the base of our spine. Yes. So Jesus, in his 3-year ministry, modeled standing in his truth no matter what. He was willing to share his heart and wisdom with people who did not get him, who scorned him. But he listened anyway. He heard. He created connection. And he generated love. He had a strong back. And I think about, he stood tall. You know, when you have a strong back, your posture declares that, right? I've never seen a picture of Jesus doing this. He was always like this or in a teaching position. He was always with a strong back. He was a visionary. You know, he never looked down. He looked up and out. He often looked up, raising his consciousness. He stood in the wilderness in his integrity, saying what he meant and meaning what he said. He didn't waste time worrying if people liked him and didn't concern himself with meeting the expectations of others. He did not pretend to be something he wasn't. Because if you remember, in the stories in the Gospels, and even his disciples didn't get it. Remember, his disciples wanted him to be the revolutionary that created a new kingdom on the earth plane. They wanted a new leader. They thought Jesus was the guy. And Jesus is like, no, that is not mine to do. I am a revolutionary of a different kind. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, and the kingdom of God is right where we are. That was his resolution and his revolution. So he stepped out and stood in his truth, and he didn't let discomfort discourage him. And when he was challenged, he stood in his ground mindfully through his parables, what he taught, his actions. He challenged his challengers. He was honest and clear. He had self-love and respect. He had a strong back. And he also had a soft front. So often in our human experience, when we feel like we have to kind of gird ourselves and we got to be strong, often what we can do is armor our front. We armor our heart. We close our heart because it can feel hurtful to express. It can feel very vulnerable. But Jesus stood in his vulnerability. And folks, crucifixions, they were practiced in that time, and unfortunately, some countries still practice them. But in that way of dying, that was so vulnerable, so exposing. It was very shaming at that time. But in the midst of that experience, do you remember what Jesus said? In the midst of it, he had a soft front. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And remember, he also connected his beloved disciple John with his mother Mary. Meet your son and meet your mother. He allowed himself to be taunted and ridiculed, all the while keeping a strong back and a soft front. And I'm also reminded of the leaders that we have been highlighting over the Season for Peace and Nonviolence. They too were ridiculed and taunted and spit at because they stood in their truth, demonstrating a strong back and a soft front, the practice of nonviolence. And most of those leaders were inspired by Jesus the Christ because his ability to spread love and spread truth, strong in his strength and also in his love and his vulnerability. Love is the great healer, folks. And as scary as it can be, not to allow ourselves to be influenced by all the fear out here. These leaders were vulnerable, but they didn't allow the space that vulnerability created to be filled with hate. Instead, they filled it with love. And Jesus was so grounded in his love and compassion. In preparation for this message, I pulled out my Bible and I was reading the Gospels about Jesus' appearance after he rose. And he first appeared to Mary Magdalene, and then he appeared to Mary, mother of James, and two women who came to anoint his body. And then he appeared several times. He appeared to two disciples, but he appeared to Peter. And if you remember the story that Peter denied Jesus 3 times. And I just thought, how Jesus-like. He went and appeared to Peter. And there's no in these gospel stories, Jesus never said, hey, y'all, where were you on Friday? I didn't see you anywhere. He didn't say that. He was just like, okay, here we are. So Jesus' strong back, soft front, folks, what it did was it led him home to himself. He stood in his greatness. He rose. And the beautiful thing is about this story is it's our story. How many of us are in life and we've felt crucified? How many of us have felt hurt to our core? How many of us are experiencing that in our lives? And so what he demonstrates to us is how we get to navigate our world to the best of our ability, knowing our strength, standing strong, Standing strong. And you notice when you stand strong in that posture, how you immediately expose your heart? Yeah. Greatness rising is us standing in our truth and in our greatness, in our knowing that we are the Christ. And greatness expressing is when we express love. Express love and compassion and respect as best we can. Because, folks, what Brene Brown talks about is as we brave the wilderness, it's all about true belonging. True belonging, because true belonging happens where? Right here. You know, that we belong to ourselves. And when we come home to ourselves, because we're in integrity with who we are, we're the Christ, we're our love, and we stand strong to the best of our ability, and we express love to the best of our ability, as we navigate our world that looks kind of crazy sometimes, often, that when we do that, we come home to ourselves. Easter is about coming home to ourselves, is rising in our awareness of the greatness that we are and the greatness that we can express. And Jesus' story so beautifully models that. So, do you know you're magnificent? Do you know that you are the Christ? That on this day, and let me tell you, Easter doesn't happen one time a year. Easter happens, the Easter experience happens each moment. You choose to rise in your awareness of the truth of what you are and to express your love and your compassion and your amazingness, because it's the truth of what you are. So are we saying yes to the Easter experience?
Yes.
Every day?
Yes.
Moment to moment?
Yes.
Take a deep breath. Let's affirm together. As I arise in my awareness of my true nature, I create peace, joy, and belonging within and around me. Happy, blessed Easter. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. Thank you. And now, this is our time to give from our unlimited abundance and open hearts. As you hold your tithes and offerings in your hand, here is some prosperity wisdom from Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth. When we look forward to life from a consciousness of our unity, our oneness, all work, play, relationships, and religion come from our inner knowing. We become more focused with what we can give to life than what life is giving to us. And the resurrection becomes not a miracle, but a timeless quality of life. Let us now affirm our offering blessing together. Divine love, I am, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give.
Revolving, and the rosebuds know the bloom in early May. Just as hate no love's a cure, you can rid your mind for sure that I'll be loving you always. As I know I can't reveal the mystery of tomorrow, but in the passing growing older every day. Just as all is born is new, you know what I say is true, that I'll be loving you always.
Till the rainbow burns the stars out in the sky.
Always.
Until the ocean covers every
beginning, and the season knows exactly when to change. Just as kindness knows no shame, you know all your joy and pain, that I'll be loving you always. As today I know I'm living through tomorrow, every the past that I must never fear. For I know deep in my mind the love I left behind, but I'll be loving you always.
Until the day is night and night becomes the day.
Always.
Until the trees and seas just up and fly away.
Always.
Until the day that 8 times 8 is 4. Until the day that is the day there are no more.
Did you know you love somebody?
Turning right to left.
Always.
Until the end, just for the sun denies itself.
I'll be loving you forever.
Nature says her work is through.
Always.
Until the day that you are me and I am you.
Always.
Until the rainbow burns and stays in the sky.
Always.
Until the ocean covers every mountain high.
Sometimes hate is trouble. It can make you wish you could pull over space and time. But you can bet your life that this twice is double. That love knows exactly where you want to be placed. So when you think you're not loved, but you're loving, you're not helping to make the earth feel like this called hell. Change your word into truth, and the truth into love. That maybe your children and your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. I'm loving you until the rainbow burns the sun in the sky. I'm loving you until the ocean covers every mountain high. I'm loving you until the dolphin flies and buries in the sea. I'm loving you until the rainbow comes and life becomes a dream. I'm loving you until the night becomes the night becomes the day. I'm loving you until the trees and seas just up and fly away. I'm loving you until the day that 8 times 8 is 4. I'm loving you until the day that is the day there are no more. I'm loving you until the earth turns right to left. I'm loving you until the earth just for the sun denies itself. I'm loving you until the mother nature says her work is through. I'm loving you until the day that you are mine. Now I gotta love you, yeah, and gotta love you, yeah, yeah. Always, hey, always. Spirit Center.
KC, let's give some love. Spirit Sound, Namaste, KC. Woo! Beautiful. All right, let's remain standing and sing in our youth.
Coming together, I got you, I got me, I got us coming together. One love, coming together.
Please be seated. Wow.
Welcome to my garden of awesome kids. I love Easter, don't you? It's great to see each other again. So today we finished the month of March. Our study was the Holy Week, and of course today we studied the Easter and how it tied in with all the events of the Holy Week. And the kids are so good at this. It was really an awesome study. So here's their message for you. Here's one.
As I go through my life, I remember that the same way Jesus experienced the events of the Holy Week, I can also step through a similar process to achieve life-changing transformation.
I am grateful to recognize that people in my life can help experience opportunities for growth so that I may now claim the express the wholeness of who I am.
The Easter story is a reminder that no matter what seems to happen to me, my task is to hold on to my divine vision until my life bears witness to the truth that liberates me and sets me free.
This Easter season, I affirm that peace on earth begins with me.
Hold on. So today's a special Sunday. It's Easter, but we also have a great bake sale for our children. All the revenues go to support our operations, and the little ones can also participate in the Easter egg hunt that's going to happen right behind the sanctuary. So I hope you join us.
And one more thing I want to let you know, Lorna Dixon, is our beloved Lorna, who's a prayer chaplain here and has been a member here for a long time. Her son, Brandon Victor Dixon, will play Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar tonight alongside John Legend, Sarah Bareilles, and Alice Cooper. So I just wanted to invite you. I think it's NBC. It will be a live production of Jesus Christ Superstar. So let's just send some love to Brandon. And, of course, Lorna is there right now. So
see what happens to Unity kids? Let me tell you.
Let's stand and bless our children.
You are the light of the world. Live as the light.
Let's join hands and sing our peace song. beautiful, peace-filled week. Happy, happy Easter to you and your dear ones.
What are we doing?
What? The groove on A. Just the groove on A flat. Go.
3, 4. Okay.